All right, guys. I'm hoping this setup is going to be okay, that you can see the board and hear everything I have to say. So today we are going to be talking about missing angles, okay? So specifically, we are going to be talking about triangles and quadrilaterals. So before spring break, we were talking about how to classify triangles and quadrilaterals. We kind of touched a little bit on triangles and the fact that the sum of the degrees is 180 degrees, some of the angles anyway. So we have these two statements here that are true statements, classifications, characteristics of triangles and quadrilaterals. Okay, so the sum of the angles in a triangle are 180 degrees. Okay, what that means is that when I have a triangle, no matter what kind of triangle it is, so we know that there are 6 types of triangles, okay? Doesn't matter which triangle it is, any triangle, okay? If I have, let's say, this is angle A, angle B, and angle C, okay? If I add those together, A plus B plus C, I always get 180 degrees. No more, no less. Okay, that is part of the definition of a triangle. Okay, so we know a triangle is a closed 2D plane figure that has 3 sides. Okay, so part of that definition is that when you add up the 3 angles together, it's always exactly 180 degrees. Okay, so that is also kind of the same thing in a quadrilateral. Okay, so triangles have 3 sides, but quadrilaterals have 4 sides. That's what separates those two definitions. Okay, so we also know that there are several different types of quadrilaterals. We've been dealing with the 5 major quadrilaterals this week. Okay, so the sum of the angles in a quadrilateral are not 180. That is incorrect. Are 360. Okay. Now, again, what that means is if I have a quadrilateral, any quadrilateral, and I add up all of their angles, it gets me exactly 360. No more, no less. Okay. Ignore my dog in the background. In fact, hold on just 1 second. No. Sorry about that. Okay, so I can illustrate that with this rectangle. Okay, so we know that part of the definition for a rectangle is that the rectangle, the shape, the 4-sided shape, has to have all 90-degree angles. Okay, so all 4 of these angles are 90 degrees. Okay, and that's 4 angles. 90 times 4 is 360. Okay, so that's just illustrating that that statement is in fact true. Okay, this is an equilateral triangle, and so in that case, an equilateral triangle means that all 3 of the sides are the same, are all equal, which means that the angles would also be equal. So for this equilateral triangle, it would be 60 degrees, okay, times 3 sides gives you 180 degrees. Okay. All right, so let's practice some of these. Okay. Let's say I have this triangle. Okay. What kind of triangle is that? Okay. It would be a right triangle, exactly, because this is a right angle, which makes it 90 degrees. Okay. Well, let's say that this angle right here is 45 degrees, okay? But I don't know this angle, all right? I need to find that missing angle. Now, you know I like strip diagrams, and so I am going to use a strip diagram to illustrate how you can find the missing angle. So if I draw my strip diagram, I know my total because my total, if I add up all of the angles, is 180 because it's a triangle. I don't have to figure that out. I already know it. I know that since there are 3 angles, there are going to be 3 parts. Okay? So I know that this angle is 90 degrees and this angle is 45 degrees. What I don't know is this angle. Okay? So I have 2 ways that I can figure out that angle. I can either take my total, subtract the first part, and subtract the second part, and get my answer. Okay, that looks like this. 180 minus 90 gives me 90, minus 45 gives me 45. I was doing mental math. Okay, so that means that this missing angle over here is 45 degrees. Okay, another way that I can do that is I can find the total of the 2 pieces that I do know and then subtract that from the whole. So if I add 90 plus 45, that gets me 135. Okay, that means that this together is 135. So in order to find the missing piece, I do 180 minus 135. To get me the missing 45. Okay? So that's one example. Now, I'm going to leave this triangle up here, but I'm going to erase the work here so we can do another one. So this triangle, okay, what kind of triangle is that? And don't say a silly one. I know it's not drawn perfectly. It's close enough, okay? So this right here, this angle, I can see is definitely obtuse because it's way greater than 90 degrees, okay? So I'm going to call this angle 120 degrees. And I'm going to say that this angle right here is 25 degrees. So I don't know that angle right there. This is my missing angle. All right, I'm going to give you just a minute to see if you can figure out what that missing angle is. Okay, I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes for that. All right, so again, I like my strip diagrams, so I'm going to draw one here. And what would be my total? Okay, since it's a triangle, my total is 180 degrees. Okay, and since it's a triangle, I have 3 angles. Okay, I know this one is 120. I know this one is 25. I do not know this missing piece. Okay, so I personally like to add and then subtract rather than subtracting 3 times, so that's what I'm going to do to find my answer. So I have my total of 180, and I'm going to subtract my 120, okay, which gives me 60. If it helps when you're doing this and you're doing a strip diagram, you can cross off that 120 so that you know that you used it already. So then I'm going to take away my 25. And that gives me 35 degrees for that missing angle, okay? All right, so I hope that helps you with finding the missing angles of a triangle, okay? And now we're going to do the same thing with a missing angle from a quadrilateral, okay? The process is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is that now instead of 3 angles, we have 4 angles, okay? Whatever strategy you were working with before for the triangles will work for the quadrilaterals as well, all right? So let's say we have this shape. Okay, what shape is that? Okay, yes, that is a parallelogram because the top and the bottom and the 2 sides, so both pairs of opposite sides, are parallel. Okay, so I'm going to say that this angle is 60 degrees. This angle is 120 degrees. And this angle is 60 degrees. But I do not know this angle, okay? So, again, I'm going to use a strip diagram, okay? In this case, since it's a quadrilateral, my total is 360 because for it to be a quadrilateral, the angles have to be added up together to make exactly 360, okay? And since it's a quadrilateral, it now has 4 angles instead of 3. Okay, so notice the difference there. So your total is going to be different. And over here we only had 3 angles. Over here we have 4 angles. So I have a 60, a 120, a 60, and a missing part. Okay, so these are some pretty easy numbers to work with in my head. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do some mental math, but I'm also going to write it down. So I know that 60 plus 60 is 120, okay? And then if I take this 120 and I add it, I have 240, okay? So all 3 of these pieces that I do know together is 240. I know that the total is 360, so to find the missing piece, I'm going to do 360 minus 240. Which gives me 120. So this missing angle here is 120 degrees. Okay, now notice the opposite angles over here are the same. Okay, it's not really something we're going to delve into today. That's something you're going to work with more next year in 6th grade. That yes, that is also a specific property of certain quadrilaterals and certain other shapes as well, that their opposite angles are the same. Okay, all right, so I'm going to leave this picture up here, but I'm going to erase my work and we're going to try one more. Okay, this time I have this shape. Okay, what shape is that? Okay, that is a trapezoid. Okay, the top and the bottom are parallel. Okay, the 2 sides are not. If I were to continue these lines, they would eventually meet. Okay, so they are not parallel. Erase that. All right, so this angle right here is 90 degrees. This one is also 90 degrees. Okay, this angle is 100 degrees. So we are trying to find that angle. Okay, so I'm going to use a strip diagram like I did up here and like I did over here with these triangles. So draw my strip. What's my total? 360, because now it is a quadrilateral, okay, which means I have 4 angles, so there are 4 pieces. So I have a 90, a 90, a 100, and an I don't know. Okay, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to see if you can find out that missing angle. See if you can do it mentally. Okay, if not, you can write it on paper and pencil, but see if you can do that mentally. So about 30 seconds. All right, so let's see how you did. All right, so I know 90 plus 90 is 180. And if I add 100 to that, that's 280. Okay, and so I need to take my total of 360 and subtract my 280. And that gives me the missing angle of 80 degrees. Okay, so that is our lesson for today. And if you need to watch this again, feel free to watch it again. You're now going to go ahead and do the online lesson where you will actually use what I just taught you to find the missing angles. Thanks for listening to my video today. I hope you're all doing good. I miss you.